Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are going to do this mermaid today. The picture doesn't really do the justice in the size. From fin to head, it's 17 inches. She is 17 inches tall. It's a fair-sized doll, but she is super cute with super cute hair. So you're going to need some safety eyes. This is sewn on, this is sewn on. The hair, I put on with a latch hook. So it comes in handy, but it's not necessary. This is a latch hook. You can find them in any store, Walmart, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, whatever it's called. Anyway, latch hook is what I use. However, a crochet needle is just fine. So we're going to be using a 4.5 for this project. So get all the colors you're going to need. Your skin color, your dress color, and let's get started. So we're going to start building from the head down. So you're going to need to make a magic ring. With 8 single crochets. You're going to need a stitch marker. We're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So after the first stitch, you're going to put your marker in there. And then you can put your second stitch in that same space. So you should have 16 stitches. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. So there's your 1 single crochet with your stitch marker. And your next stitch gets the increase. So an increase is 2 single crochets in the same space. So you're going to repeat that all the way around. So it's squishy, but we want a nice round head, so you should have 24 stitches, and in the next round you're going to be able to count and make sure. The next round is going to be 1 single crochet in each of those 24 stitches. So this is where you're going to be able to add or subtract stitches if you've made a mistake. So next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. So in your first stitch, it's number 1, that gets your marker. Next stitch is going to be 2 single crochets, then your increase. So you have to repeat that all the way around. 1, 1, 2. Your next round is 3 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. 2 and 3, and then your increase. Alrighty, so I've got my 5 rows done. So we're going to start decreasing now. This is what it should look like. It's a little hat. So we're going to start decreasing. We're going to start with a 4 single crochet decrease because we ended with a 4 single crochet increase. So that's number 1. That's 4 single crochets, and then your decrease is you're going to go in and grab some yarn and pull through. You're not going to do anything. You're going to go into your next stitch, grab some yarn, pull through. You should have 3 loops. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. That's a decrease. And repeat. 4 single crochets. And a decrease. So your next round is going to be 3 single crochets decrease. That's 3 single crochets, and then your decrease, which sometimes you'll often see it written as single crochet 2 tog, which means single crochet 2 together. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochet and a decrease. That should take you down to 24 stitches, and after that I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of those 24 stitches. So that's 1 single crochet, it's 2 single crochets, and your decrease. You can probably stuff anytime you wanted to too. So this is what you should have. I'm going to attach some eyes, and then I'm going to do a little bit of stuffing. So I got these safety eyes. You can buy this whole kit. It comes with noses, animal noses and everything too. These blue, black eyes, and then colored eyes for $15 out on Amazon. That's 15 Canadian, so it'll be cheaper for the US. So, this is the color I'm using for the bra and the tail and everything. So I might just do brown eyes. I think if I did these red eyes, that might look weird. That might freak a kid out. So I'm just going to do these little brown eyes. I've already got the bag, so you don't have to listen to me rattle a bag. So, according to my notes, I put these eyes, turn this around so this is at the back. because if you're going to be starting and stopping and color changing, you want it at the back. So I have between the 9th and 10th rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So somewhere in here, and I have that I did 6 stitches apart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you should see 6 stitches in between. So once you think you've got it where you want it, there we go. The nose and the mouth get sewn on, so that's it. You can put some stuffing in this now, because we are gonna decrease one more time, and then we're gonna start on the shoulders and the neck area and stuff like that. So we're gonna start building the body soon. So you don't want the hole to be too small that you can't, for the most part. So I like to stuff and push, and then stick my stuffing down the hole I just created. So I don't really want to overstuff right now because it's going to be hard to hold on to. So your next row is going to be a decrease row. We're going to do 1 single crochet and a decrease. That's going to take you down to 16 stitches. Sorry, that's the noise my security camera makes whenever there's movement. So I don't really want to turn that sound off, in case you're ever wondering what that sound was. That's what it is. And sometimes when my dog's outside, it's detecting all his movements, So you should have 16 stitches. You're going to put 1 single crochet in each of those 16 stitches, and I'll meet you right back here. We're going to start increasing. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. So it's going to get squishy. Not as squishy as I normally would do shoulders, but neck area. Normally I'd be putting 2 in each space, but this one's a little bit smaller. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet. So I've done my 1 row of 1 single crochet in each stitch for 24 stitches. If you ever lose your space that your stitch marker is going to go, you see where we start the swirl? So this is our original magic ring. Then we start right there. If you follow that all the way up, that's where your stitch marker should be. So if you ever lose your spot and forget to put your stitch marker in or something, then that's how you can find it again. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. So that's number 1 with your stitch marker. That's number 2 with your increase. So just like before, your next round will be the 1 single crochet in each stitch, and I'll meet you back here after. So you should have 32 stitches, and this is what you should have so far. Your next round is going to be 3 single, this is going to be our last increase round, so 3 single crochets and an increase. So that's number 1. This takes you up to 40 stitches. So that's 3 single crochets and then 2 in this space for your increase. So after you're done this, you're going to do 2 rounds of 1 single crochet in each space for 40, and I'll see you on the other side. So we're going to decrease a little bit now. This is what you should have. You can put more stuffing in it now if you want to, into that head part. I'm just going to put a little bit. So when you push on it, if it bounces back, then you have enough stuffing. But if it doesn't, then you need more. So you can still have the choice on whether you want it to be squishy or whether you want it to be hard. So mine's bouncing back just fine. So I'm probably only going to put a little more in it just to firm it up a little bit. I don't really want it to lose its shape, you know, if kids are squishing on it or something. So good stuff. All right, so you're going to do a 3 single crochet decrease because we just ended with a 3 single crochet increase. So that's number 1. That's 3 single crochets and then your decrease. And repeat. 3 single crochets and then your decrease again is go in, yarn over, pull through and don't do anything, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through all 3 of those loops. So repeat this all the way around, 3 single crochets and a decrease, and then you're going to do 4 rows of 1 single crochet in each of those 32 stitches that you should have after you're done, and I will see you on the other side. Alright, time to change color. So I'm going to show you how I change color, which is easy peasy, although we're going to do weird things. But if you're subscribed to this channel, we do weird things. So I'm going to get my color. I'm going to tell you what this is. This is called With Love Metallic. You see that? This color is fuchsia. Calls for a 6.5. It's medium weight. You see all the metallic. Oh, such beautiful stuff. So this is what I'm going to choose to use for my color. So right now we're at the stitch marker. You're going to pull a few stitches out before the stitch marker, because we're going to start adding our color before we need to use the color. So I'm not going to use the pink, but I'm going to weave in the pink. Does that make sense? So you don't have to weave in the tail. You're just going to weave in your lead, what you're eventually going to be using for your lead. I know how awkward it is to change colors and try to have to weave in 2 pieces of yarn. This way, you just have to weave in 1 piece of yarn. And it's way easier. And you can do it too when you're, it's not just for a color change, but when you have to, say your ball has run out and you need to get a new ball, instead of tying a knot and then trying to hide that knot, you can just do the same thing. It doesn't have to be just for a color change. You do the same thing. You know your ball's running out and you got to start your new ball. Start weaving in your old ball. And then when you get to your marker, you're going to simply drop your brown, your skin color, your white, your beige, whatever you're using. You're going to pick up your tail color. And now you're going to weave in the brown for a little bit before you cut it off. So there's my color change with my stitch marker. So you're just going around doing one single crochet. So now that my color change happened at the back of my doll. So I'm going to weave in this my skin color for a minute. And that is the easiest way to do a color change, in my opinion. You may have a completely different opinion. So I think that's about all I need to weave in my brown. So we'll just move that out of the way. It's not brown, it's beige. More of a beigey. So just continue with your 1 single crochet in each stitch with your new color. This is where your tail is going to begin. This metallic yarn is so great to work with. It is so beautiful. Hi, I'm back. So I'm cooking hair for this mermaid that I'm making right now. So we'll get to that later on in the video about hair. So for the next 13 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. You should still have 32 stitches. You're just going to now do it with your pretty color. So I will meet you back here after your 13 rows. So I have my 13 rows. I'm going to put some stuffing in this. We're going to start decreasing. So you're going to have to kind of stuff as you go with your decreases because we're really tapering down because I mean it's a tail. So I think that's fine. So I'm going to do a 2 single crochet decrease. So that's number 1. It gets hard to hold on to when you have to start stuffing it. That's number 2, and then my decrease. So my 3 rows are done. Your next round is going to be, your next decrease is going to be 1 single crochet and a decrease. That's my 1 single crochet and my decrease. So that's your repeat. You're going to do this all the way around. At the end you should have 16 stitches, and then you're going to do 7 rows of 1 single crochet in each of those 16 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. Alright, so I am done my 7 rows. Let's put some stuffing in this before we're not quite closing it up, but we are gonna get smaller by 8 stitches. So we're gonna should have 16 stitches now. So we're gonna decrease by 8. Okay, so we're going to decrease by 8. So we're going to decrease 8 times. We're going to decrease by 8 stitches. So you're just going to go 1 with a stitch marker, so that brings you down to 8 stitches. And again, you're going to have to shove some stuffing in there. So for the next 2 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of those 8 stitches for 2 rows, and I will see you back here when you're done. I am just going to sew the rest of this shut. But I need the stuffing at the end to use to help sew on my fins, so make sure your end is very well stuffed. You can cut just enough off to weave in. So go into your next stitch. You're going to slip stitch. You're going to fasten off. You didn't thread that one very well. So you're going to go here, go over here to the next stitch. You're picking up just one piece of yarn. You're going to go in that one and out the next one. You're going to go in that one and out the next one. Do this all the way around. To come back to your knot where you fastened off, and then just pull, and that closes that right up. So you'll have to move your stuffing around after. So come across to where you just pulled. Pull that down so it doesn't have a big bump. And then you can just weave into the stuffing in different directions. Theory is the different directions will confuse it if somebody tries to tug on it enough to open it. I like to do an added little extra, and I like to just tie a knot, cut off a little bit, and then see, that's what I got. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to poke that right down inside the doll, tail and all. So the theory is that that knot will get caught on the stuffing, and it'll get lodged in the stuffing and it won't go anywhere. So that's the theory. So there we have the beginning of our mermaid. So let's make this part of the, it's not a dress, it's just kind of like a decorative thing around the tail, I guess. So you're gonna make a slip knot. I'm sure you all know how to make a slip knot. So make it as small as you can that's gonna fit on your hook. Starting at the back, you're gonna go into your doll. So you're gonna come back around up into where this pink comes around, but we're gonna angle down to complete it. So right where this connection is, you're gonna go into the post beside it. So that's your post. You're going to put this on the end of your hook, tighten up your slip knot. So you're going to pull through. Sorry, that got really dark when I zoomed in. I'll zoom in with my editing. So pull through and make a stitch. You're going to continue to make stitches all along the posts. So that's your next post. You're going to grab some yarn and pull through and make a stitch. Next post, grab some yarn, pull through, make a stitch. So I want you to keep making these stitches all the way around. So don't worry about that little bit of skin color showing because we're doing another row. We're not just leaving it like this. If we were just leaving it like this, I'd be down a row doing it, but we are doing another row. When I get, sorry, I went couple too far. So I'm about lined up with my face. I'm going to go down on an angle. So right underneath this eye, go down on a diagonal, make a stitch, go into the pink part, make a couple of stitches. I'm going to do 3. Depends on how pointy you want this. So this is just going to be a drop down for, so now we're going to go and angle back up. So now I'm lined up with this, kind of with the eye again. So right in the middle, I've got this drop down. You don't have to do that part. You can just keep going straight across if you want, but I thought it looked neat. Did I go back up? Yeah, so I'm back up here now into the ground. I don't know how noticeable that'll be on camera, but it's noticeable when you do it in real life. As soon as I'm done this, I'll show you on my other doll what we just did, if you did it. So one more, and then we're gonna, this is where we're gonna go in and we're gonna do another diagonal to join back up. Now when this is all said and done, you're not even gonna notice that we did that for the whole one stitch we just did. So go into where you started here and you're going to slip stitch. I'm stuck on something. You're gonna slip stitch and chain 2. So we're gonna do some stuff, but I just want to show you on my other one. Might be more noticeable because it's finished. But see, I kind of came down like that, right at the center. You don't have to do that. I was just getting all fancy. So you've chained 2. Don't worry about this guy, we're gonna deal with him later. But use him as a reference to where you started and stopped, even though we chained 2. Still might be hard to see. So we are going to do like almost a scalloped things. If you've done scallops with me, then you already know where I'm going with this one. So first of all, put a double crochet in the same stitch as your chain 2. That'll just cut down on any seam that might happen. So in your first stitch, technically, you're going to put 3 double crochets all in the same stitch. It's very hard to do on camera, so sorry if I'm not staying put. It's easier to do if I get to hold it close to my body. So that's my 3 double crochets. You're going to skip the next stitch and you're going to go into the stitch after and you're going to do a single. So that's your repeat all the way around. And then your very next stitch, you're going to do 3 double crochets. So I'm going to put this on my screen for you to follow as well. So that's, whoops. That's my 3 double crochets. Skip 1, go into the next one and single crochet. So that's what you get. You get a scalloped edge. So go ahead and finish that, because that'll lay down like that, so you're not going to see the skin color. So go ahead and complete that and follow the screen I'm going to put up, and I'll meet you back here. So I am coming to the end of this. I'm going to turn down the light on my camera because this seems to be awful bright. I've got 3 double crochets to do in this guy. So that's my 3 double crochets. I'm going to skip 1, and then normally you would just do a slip stitch just at the top of that chain. So there's a little stitch right there. So there's my next stitch, but then there's a little stitch right there. That's where I'm going to make my single crochet, just to keep the scalloped part looking like a scalloped part. And then I'm going to just kind of scooch across here and I'm going to do my slip stitch. And at this point, you're going to fasten off. You just need a little bit for weaving. I probably cut too much off, but I like to weave like really well. There's my needle. I'm just going to make sure my knot's tight. I just want to kind of scooch scooch down the stitches because I don't want to pull on it that hard when I go to shove it into the doll. So I'm pulling down so I keep the scallop look. And now I'm just going to go right down into the doll. And I'm going to do my normal weaving. So go down, if you're not sure about the weaving, go down as close as you can to your lead. Not in the same hole, but next to it. So when you pull, it may be hard to see, but that should just look like a stitch when you pull it through. And then if you have enough left over, you can weave a couple of times. I like to have enough where I can tie a knot, cut it off a little bit, and then take that knot and that tail and shove it down into the stuffing to hopefully, I just want to pop that back up, to hopefully you know, secure it. I just have some extra stuffing poking out. I'm just going to cut that off in case you're wondering what I'm doing. Yeah, we gotta hide this guy. So we did the slip knot in here to start. I don't think weaving is that big of a deal. You're just gonna go down into the stuffing and you can just pop out and cut it off. There. Let's get the bottom done next. So you're going to make a slip knot. You're going to chain 20. You're going to single crochet 19, back up. So that's my 19. You're in chain 1, turn your work. Starting in the very first stitch, this one here, you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 17 stitches. That's 17. These last two, you're going to single crochet together, so that's our decrease. But you'll see it written as single crochet 2 tog. So you're going to go in, grab some yarn, go into your last stitch, grab some yarn. You have 3 on. You're going to pull through all 3. You're going to chain 1 and turn. So now you're going to single crochet 18 back up. 18, chain 1, turn your work. You're going to single crochet 16, and then you're going to single crochet these last 2 together. Chain 1, turn your work. And now you can single crochet 17, back up. Chain 1, turn your work. I'm going to cut that off. Pretty stuff, but that stuff does kind of pop out every once in a while. So we're going to single crochet 15. So you guessed it, single crochet these 2 together. So every other row we're going to be decreasing. Chain 1, turn your work. I just did 2 together. You're going to single crochet 16 back up to the top. Chain 1, turn your work. Now you're going to single crochet 14. Starting in the very first, making sure you get into this first stitch to keep this straight. So a lot of people will hold their work like this and they think this is the first stitch, and it's not. You got to pull your chain 2 over and that's your first stitch. So 14. That's 14, and I'm going to single crochet these last 2 together. Chain 1, turn my work. I'm going to single crochet 15, back up. Chain 1, turn your work. You're going to single crochet 13, and I'm going to single crochet these last 2 together. Chain 1, turn your work. Single crochet 14, Chain 1, turn your work. You're going to single crochet 12, and then you're going to single crochet these last two together. Chain 1, turn your work. Then you're going to single crochet 13, back up. Chain 1, turn your work. So you're going to single crochet 11, and you're going to single crochet these two together. Chain 1, turn your work. So I'm going to put the rest on the screen, then you can finish it. There's not much left. And then make your other one, and I'll meet you right back here. So when you get done, you can fasten off, and then you are going to do this weird stuff. So this is the part you were cutting in, so this is what it should look like. So to make it look like a fin, you're going to weave your needle just along the very, very top of your project. Just along the top. Super important. So when you get all the way through, you're going to pull and you're going to pull it so it closes up like that, and that's your fin. So you can just, keeping that taut, come across to the beginning where you started, and then bounce across to the part, the other part, and then you can just tighten that up. So you're going to be sewing the two together, so you don't have to cut this off or weave this in. But to keep that nice and tight so it doesn't open, I would take, this is from your slip knot originally, and then from the part that you just did this with, tie a knot, and that way it's not going to come open. So a nice tight double knot, and then this can get snipped off, and then you've just got this end. So your other one, you don't actually need to keep this end because you only need, but we can use this one to sew the two fins together, and then the other one, if you want to keep it, we can use it to sew to the doll. So it's up to you, but that is your one fin. So go ahead and get your other one done. Okay, I've got my fins all done. So, polyfill. What I originally did with them So I want them to go like this. So one of them you have to turn inside out. But trust me, it's not noticeable. What I originally did was sewed them together, and then I sewed them on to the doll. So taking one of these, so once you've got one turned inside out and one the right way, we're going to use this to sew it on. So we'll just kind of have this over here. You're going to just put these two together. So however you want to do it, is up to you. Learning to sew from me is not a good idea. I do not sew well, but I'm just going to put a couple of stitches down. Because you do want to make an adjustment, like when you get it on there, you might want to make an adjustment so it goes like that, or it's completely up to you how you sew these on. So I just put a couple of stitches in there, and then I'm just going to kind of come back and make a knot, just so it doesn't come undone. And then I'm just going to go through that loop, make a tight knot, cut that off. It doesn't really have to be close to the thing because no one's going to see it. And then these, I just went right down into the doll and popped out the other side. I know you can't see the other side, just take my word for it. And then I just went up and down through the back. And now I just want to come up through this fin. And back down. So you can sew on any way you want. Like I said, taking lessons from me is probably not a good idea. Although I've only ever really had one thing fall apart. It's up to you whether you want to sew all this on or not. I do, because I don't like it moving around. So I just go up into the stitches. It's so tight in there, but that's the way I like it because I know that it's not really going to go anywhere. So I am just going to angle this up like this, and we've kind of created a cupping thing anyway. So I'm just going to go up a couple of times because I want this to not move around, but if you want yours to move around, then by all means. So when I go back in, I'm going to come back down into this one. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of angle it up and then put some stitches in there. When I'm going back in, I'm trying to stay as close as I can to my lead so that it just looks like a stitch and it's not looking like I sewed something. Does that make sense? Probably not. Alright, so once I've got that in place, I'm going to go back down close to my lead. And then I'm just going to weave in through the doll. And then I'm going to do my regular, extra. So once I believe it's tight enough, I'm going to do a couple of weaves a couple of times and then pull snug again before I tie my knot. Then I'm going to cut a little bit off like that, and I'm going to jam that down inside the doll. So there are my fins. Okay, next we'll move on to the top. We'll do the top before we do the arms because it's way easier. So the top is pretty easy peasy. Find my hook. Oh, we're not doing a magic ring. We're doing a slip knot. It's a big slip knot. So you're going to chain 38. Actually, you're going to chain whatever's going to fit around your doll where you're putting the top. It all depends on how you've stuffed it, so I shouldn't really give you a number. So that's my 38, and I just checked it around the doll and it's fine. So you're going to single crochet 14 if you're using my 38 chain. You're going to single crochet 14, one in each stitch. So now we're going to make the breast parts. In the next stitch, you're going to put 5 triple crochets. So you wrap it around twice for a triple. And you're going to come through 2, come through 2, and then come through 2. So you've done that 3 times, hence why it's called a triple crochet. And it's called a triple crochet. It's not called a treble crochet. I hear this all the time, and then I watch somebody do a triple. A treble crochet is a UK term. It means double crochet. So we get 4 more triples into this space. So I want 5 altogether. I knew pulling on my yarn was going to do that. Don't worry about stretching it. It'll all look fine after we're done. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. One more makes 5. So there is, now that this is all stretched out, there is a tiny stitch right in there. You're going to put a single crochet in. And then you're going to put a single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So that's what it looks like. That's your shell top. Then you're going to put in this very next tiny stitch 5 triple crochets. That's my 5. Now that I've stretched everything out again, I have to find this tiny little stitch, do a single crochet, So that's your bra. So you can fasten off. You just need a tiny wee bit. We're only going to sew it to the doll in one spot, and that's where we're actually fastening it together as well. Take these two and just tie a knot. Doesn't have to be tight, but it does have to be double. That just will help it not pop open. And we're sewing this part anyway. So, get your doll. Get all your booby parts straight. You'll have to adjust these obviously after you're done. So you're going to come around, thread your needle, you're going to go right into here, and you're going to do this twice. So put 2 stitches, bringing these together. So you've got your top together, and as tight as you want it. You're going to go down into the doll this time. You're going to grab a little bit of the doll. You're going to make a knot. Then you can go back down into the pink. And you can pop out of this pink. Tie a knot. Cut a little bit off, leaving a little bit of a tail. Poke that down. And there, you've got your shell top all finished. So this will move. If you don't want this to move because your kids are playing with it a lot, you can probably tack it down in a couple of places. So there we go.